Good morning. Today is Monday. I wanted to share a little bit about my process in planning homemade kitchen restocks and what that looks like.
Hi, I'm Maria, and this is Living Planet Friendly, where I document my imperfect, low-waste lifestyle in hopes to inspire you to make small changes that can have a big impact. Welcome to my non-judgmental platform, where we incorporate sustainable habits that are good for us, our wallets, and the planet.
So it's Monday, January 8th. My husband and I grocery shopped right before the new year and grocery shopped enough for 3 weeks. So I'm not going grocery shopping again until Friday the 19th, which means I need to do as much as I can with what we already have. So in my content calendar, every Sunday I have a homemade restock listed, and then I usually will add things to it and jot stuff down as I'm going through the week to see like what I want to make that week, or if I see something online that I really want to remake. Hello, Pepper. I will try to do that. So I'll just jot down on the spreadsheet like what I need. So this is what's on my list. Thank you. I have a small carton of heavy whipping cream in the fridge that I was going to use for a recipe around Christmas, but never got to making it. So I have the carton. I want to use that before it goes bad, and I don't really want to use it in a recipe. So I think I'm going to make homemade butter with it. And then I'm going to turn part of that butter into cinnamon butter. So that's first on my list. Today is Monday. Today I'm feeding my starter in the afternoon. I usually feed it in the morning, but I want to bake bread with it. So I'm going to feed it in the afternoon, mix my dough tonight, and then bake it for Tuesday. We have 1 day's worth of breakfast bagels in our bread box right now, so we need something else for breakfast. So I'm going to make a loaf of sourdough bread, and we'll have that for breakfast for the next few days. So that's on my list. I also am planning on making sourdough biscuits. This is a discard recipe that I really like. The reason I'm making it is because I need a picture of them for social media for Talking in Spirals, which, if you haven't heard, is a new podcast by me and my good friend and fellow eco-creator Brennan Kai. We started a podcast called Talking in Spirals. We started it in the new year, so go check it out. But I need a picture of sourdough biscuits for our social media. I also have on my list garlic cubes. Bags of peeled, washed garlic were on sale at our store right after Christmas. So we picked up 2 bags of them. The one that's left in there is going to expire at the end of this week. I have to figure out something to do with it. I think I'm just going to mince it and then put it in super cubes and then freeze them. It's super easy. If you're making a recipe and need 2 tablespoons of garlic, you can just pull it out. And I like fresh garlic. I know you can buy it pre-minced, but it sits in water. It's not as strong. Also, on our last shopping trip, I found the biggest butternut squash that I've ever seen in my life. Of course, I had to buy it. I bought 2 of them. And I'm going to make some butternut squash soup for our freezer because we're out of it. And my husband doesn't like it as much, but I love it. And I work from home and he doesn't. So I think if I make it into like 1 cup cubes, or like 1.5 cups in the 2 cup cubes, then I can just have a huge stock of butternut squash soup in the freezer to have whenever I want, during the day for lunch, whenever I want. So that's also on my list. That will also help use up onions in the fridge that I know are not going to last too much longer, almost past its prime in our fridge. And yeah, so that's what I have on my list right now. I know we're getting low on soup in our freezer. We have a bag of white beans in our pantry. We have everything that we would need for the soup. Garlic white bean soup. So now I'm going to plan out when I'm going to make things. In the new year, I'm trying to do my restocks on Thursdays, so I have plenty of time to edit on Fridays, this video and my short form. I'm trying really hard to not work on the weekends. I used to do it all on Fridays, but we kind of shifted my schedule a little bit to do it on Thursdays. So now I'm literally just going to go through and kind of plan what I can work on and make at the same time as something else and fit them into my schedule. So this is my 3-hour homemade restock plan starting at 10 a.m. First, I'm going to mix the sourdough discard biscuits. That's going to rise on the counter. After that, I'm going to start roasting butternut squash ingredients. That's going to take probably like an hour and a half in the oven. Then while that's happening, I'm going to cook the white beans in the Instant Pot that I need for the soup. After that, I'm going to get the mixer going for homemade butter, and that takes me to 11 a.m. So I'm working on all those things simultaneously. Then I'm going to mix the Texas Roadhouse butter. Then I'm going to mince the garlic in the blender and then put them into super cube trays to make freezer garlic cubes. Then I'm going to bake the biscuits, do the folds that I need to, and do that. By that point, the butternut squash ingredients should be out of the oven. So then the biscuits go in. While the biscuits are baking, I'm going to finish the white bean soup. So I'm going to blend up a third of the beans, mix everything together, cook it for a little bit on the stovetop, and then take the biscuits out. And then I will just need to blend the butternut squash soup. So I'm waiting for it to cool a little bit until I can handle it. And then I'm going to blend it all together and then pour it into super cube trays. It's a lot happening in a short amount of time, but by staggering everything and working on several things at once, it saves so much time in the long run. So this took about 15 minutes of planning. Most of it was me talking to you. So I think it's definitely worth it. And then of course, the last thing on the list is to clean the kitchen. All right, so I will see you later when I start to mix sourdough. Oh, hi. It's way later in the day, but I remembered that making homemade butter also makes buttermilk. So we're going to use that this week too. I found this recipe that I want to try for a lemon blueberry breakfast cake, but I think I'm going to modify it to use sourdough discard in it too. So we're adding that to the list. And I'm just going to put it at the end. So once I blend the butternut squash soup, that's what I'm going to make next. And it can go in the mixing bowl that I made the butter in. It doesn't have to be in a separate mixing bowl. And then it can go in the oven after the biscuits. I also think I'm going to try baking in super cubes so they're in like little loaves. We'll see. And I have a bunch of lemons and blueberries in my fridge that I know I should use. So I hope y'all caught that. Sorry, it's probably so loud. Our dishwasher's going on. But I have a big bowl, an airtight lid. This is my tried and true method of sourdough. So you knead it on the mixer until it is smooth and no longer sticks to your fingers. I'm using olive oil just to grease the inside of this bowl, and I like the flavor that it comes with it. So I just do a little enough to coat the rim, and then it will all like fall in. So I've got my dough ball. I'm gonna form it into like kind of a ball. I'm gonna set it in the bottom, and then I'm just gonna turn it to coat it in oil. It helps me a lot with bread tomorrow to not stick to my hands, because I have some sticky dough sensitivities. I know, great hobby, bread making, right? But I don't like touching sticky dough. So by adding this little bit of olive oil, I've discovered that it makes it not sticky at all. It also slides out of the bowl a lot easier, and I love the taste of olive oil. It makes it so good. Airtight lid is going on, and this is gonna stay out on the counter. It is 8:43, so I won't shape or do anything with this loaf for about 10 to 12 hours. It's just gonna sit on my counter. Stovetop, actually. You may have noticed that my method does not include stretch and fold. You can develop the gluten in your bread by doing stretch and folds. That's like the most popular method, I would say, to developing gluten. But the other way you can do it is just by bulk fermenting. And I found that that is what works best for me. And I like the bread that comes out of it. So see you tomorrow. I had a little bit of a stomachache this morning, so I should have done this a couple hours ago. I didn't. It's fine. It's 10:17. My bread looks pretty good. It definitely doubled in size. Now we're just gonna plop it out onto a cutting board. This is a granite cutting board that I use for like doing anything with dough, because then I can just very easily put it into the dishwasher and clean it. I'm just going to work on shaping. So I've got my Banneton basket. So I basically just flatten this out as much as I can. And I'm gonna do some folding. I'm going to fold into thirds. So I've rolled it. You can see that the rolls are still on the sides. So we want to fold it over, but also create some tension. I'm just gonna fold it and spin it. Looks pretty damn good. I'm just gonna get a little bit of flour to dust the top. And now this is what it looks like just in my Banneton basket that's already a little bit floured. And now it's gonna sit and proof. I leave it on the counter for usually like an hour to proof. Sometimes I forget about it and it sits there for a little bit. That's okay. In case you can't tell, I'm very lenient with my bread. I'd make changes, and you know what? I still make bread every time, so it's fine. Okay, so this is my Le Creuset bread oven. This is what I use to bake bread every single time. I'm gonna try a new method today. I'm not gonna preheat my oven with this in there. So we're gonna set our oven to 500 degrees. And then we are going to score this. I'm gonna cover this, and it's gonna go into the oven. That is a huge rise. I am gonna take it out to show you. I don't usually take it out. This looks so good. My sweet spot is 8 minutes. Alexa set an 8-minute timer. So my sweet spot is 8 minutes. That's when it's gonna be golden brown enough for me to enjoy it. So I'll see you in 8 minutes. Okay, my 8-minute timer went off. That is what I'm looking for. Okay, they're on the back of the oven, out of Dougie's reach, and we're gonna go upstairs. Good morning, friends. Hello, Miss Pepper. Miss Pepper would also like to say hello. We have a lot on our schedule today. We're starting with sourdough discard biscuits. Miss Pepper's gonna help, right? Do you wanna help? Oh, you wanna help? See. My husband is also home today from work, so you might see him in the background or hear him. So let's go. I got 2 aprons for Christmas. I am so excited. So we're gonna wear this one today. So these are sourdough discard biscuits. They are so easy to make. Cup of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and then a teaspoon of salt. And then I'm gonna grate a whole stick of butter. Okay, and I'm gonna use our gradiator. Last time I made these, I used plant butter and it was fine, but they were out of plant butter last time we went grocery shopping, so we stuck with real butter this time. Okay, we want 1 egg and a cup of sourdough discard. I am also going to not do circles again. I'm just gonna
do squares.
Do square biscuits.
I think that's acceptable.
Okay, so I'm making a white bean soup. The only white beans that we have are Great Northern beans, so that's what we're gonna use. Beans to liquid ratio. Okay, so 1 pound of beans, so I need 4 cups of water for this bag. And it'll be 35 minutes. 2, 4. 35 minutes high pressure, start. Okay, so I've got this whole container of whipping cream that I was supposed to use for a recipe before the holidays and never did. So we're gonna make butter. Now we're just gonna let it stir. It's gonna take a while. It's fine. Okay, I have a lot going on in the kitchen right now, so I'm so sorry if it's loud. I'm just trying to get this cord away from the camera. It's fine. I started buying garlic in these like pre-peeled bags. This bag expires January 13th. I think that's like tomorrow or the day after. I don't know, but I'm gonna use it. This is what I do with garlic. So I'm gonna just pulse it with my blender, which is basically mincing it. If you have a food processor, that would probably work better. But I refuse to buy a food processor because I feel like this does the exact same thing. And then I've got these super cube trays. I like to use the cookie trays. You could also use the 2 tablespoon trays. This I think is like a tablespoon and a half or something. Might just be a tablespoon, I don't know. And I just like to literally just
hack in the garlic. We're a big garlic household though, so 1 or 2 of these cubes is plenty for us in a recipe. If you don't like garlic as much, use a smaller cube. I think we're good. And then these are gonna go into the freezer probably tomorrow, maybe later tonight. I'll pop them out and then put them in a freezer bag and then wash these trays. I've never had these trays hold on to any smell of whatever was stored in there. I could use this cookie tray later on for cookies, even though today it had garlic in it. Second tray done. Now I have 20 tablespoons of garlic. This looks so good. Okay, so I am gonna start preparing the lemon blueberry cake, the lemon blueberry breakfast cake, just because I have to like zest and juice a lemon. Yeah, so I'm gonna zest and juice a lemon. Didn't realize that some of these were going bad in the back of the fridge, so we're gonna juice all of them. It's fine. So a while ago, we got this mason jar topper to zest and juice, or to juice, not zest. I don't know what I was talking about. This mason jar topper, so I'm gonna try it out. I did wash these when we bought them, so. Okay, I decided I'm just gonna zest all of the good parts of the lemon and then freeze. Maybe I'll dehydrate some. I wonder if it would still be good dehydrated. It would retain all of its qualities. That way the next time I need lemon zest for a recipe, I can just grab it from a jar instead of raw stock. Okay, we're definitely at the whipped cream stage. Okay, so like this is how much zest I'm gonna keep. We are gonna dehydrate this though. I can't imagine it taking more than like an hour. Okay, it's probably really loud in here now. So sorry. Dehydrator and the mixer are running, so it's fine. So we gotta do the juice of a lemon. So that is the juice of 1 lemon. Because this recipe wants 1 lemon, I'm gonna dump it into the zest. And then when I'm ready to make that, I've got the zest and juice of a lemon ready to go. The rest of these, I'm just gonna juice though. I never found that the microwaving hack worked like that well. I found rolling it is what helps. So far this is working pretty well to catch a lot of the pulp. This works so well. I wonder if you could use the inside of this for something. Like, I don't know, maybe like a candle if you like dried it out. Ooh, or you can make like jello shots in them. That would be fun. I feel like my hands are gonna smell lemon for the next 12 days. Way easier to pour. I made butter. What do I do now? This is all buttermilk. Form this butter into a ball and squeeze out as much buttermilk as I can. That is a cup of buttermilk. That's perfect because I think that's exactly what I need for that recipe. We're gonna reuse that container for the lemon blueberry cake. Here's the buttermilk for that recipe. And now I get to rinse this butter. This is gonna be interesting. Cool. Okay, update. It worked. So cool. This is gonna go into the freezer. Okay, so we're gonna finish up the garlic white bean soup. Some red pepper. Some rosemary. And some thyme. Okay, and then I'm gonna bake the cakes in these 1 cup super cubes, so they'll end up being like little mini cakes. I'm so excited. And then I'm planning to freeze some of these into the oven it goes. That's done. All that's left on my list is to blend the butternut squash soup, which I'm gonna do now, and then white bean soup, which we're having for lunch, which is simmering. I, however, did not keep up with my rule of finishing dishes, of doing dishes as I go. It's fine. This is where sure not doing cleanup as I go was a bit of a mistake because I need more counter space and I don't have it. I made so much butternut squash soup. Biscuits, bread. Got another loaf in here, but I'm not gonna bake it until tomorrow. Butter. Okay, so now the zest is all dehydrated.
Okay, so that was a big homemade kitchen restock. That's like the most stuff I've done in a while. The sourdough bread probably took about a half hour of actual work between making the dough, shaping it, and then putting it in and taking it out of the oven. Everything else took about 3 hours of work to do on Thursday. So it was like 3.5 hours of restocking. But I made 2 loaves of sourdough discard biscuits, 10 cups of butternut squash soup, 2 meals of white bean soup. I minced garlic to make garlic cubes. I zested all of the lemons and juiced all of the lemons, dehydrated zest and juice cubes for water. I made lemon blueberry cake. And then I also made butter and then turned some of that butter into cinnamon butter. It was a lot of coordinating because like I needed the minced garlic for the soups. I needed the lemon juice for the lemon zest, but then also I had to do something with the lemons and the zest before it went bad. I needed the butter to make the cinnamon butter. I needed the buttermilk from making butter for the lemon blueberry cakes. So it was a lot of stuff that was just relying on each other. That was such a big restock. I'm very proud that it only took 3.5 hours. I did not keep up with dishes, so dishes took a half hour, but it's fine. I hope you liked this video. If you want to see more homemade kitchen restocks, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing, or check out my other platforms on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest, where I share homemade kitchen restocks every Sunday. Happy restocking and see you next week.